at this current Y in Wilton for almost 5 years now. So here I'm the aquatics director and the safety director. So I'm kind of like one felt swoop.
So tell me a little bit about the process of how you kind of selected a drowning detection system, and then in particular, how you ended up with Wave.
They had come to us, said, let's try it out. And in the first 30 seconds, I was pretty much hooked on it. They had brought one of their headbands with them to kind of show us like how it functions and what was going on. And we put it on one of our swimmers. And funny enough, they had showed us on one of the swimmers who complains often about like the simplest things. The pool temperature is a quarter of a degree off, and she swam one lap with the headband on and didn't notice anymore that it was on, and I was hooked. And it's cool that you could kind of change your perception of what you need.
You mean by that a little bit more?
So there's two different thought processes here, right? So lifeguard wears the wristband. The wristband for us is set at 15 seconds. And then there's a hub, a portable hub that's on our wall that also has a sound, but that goes off 25 seconds. So the lifeguard has the opportunity to get the notification before the hub goes off. On the flip side of that, it's also a really good tool to show people that you're swimming incorrectly, right? You're not picking your head up correctly. You're not rotating correctly. So yes, it's a life-saving device, but we've also kind of snuck in the little tidbit of like, you're not swimming correctly either. Here's how you can swim better.
Interesting. I love hearing that. Do you feel like you had to adjust any kind of your procedures to introduce this to your swimmers or to your lifeguards?
So we went through trainings. I started with my supervisory staff first. Then we went to our part-time lifeguards and swim instructors and aquarobics in our whole department. And then we released to our families. Where from adjusting procedures is kind of just another thing. You know, you put your cap and goggles on, so just put one more thing on your head. So right. It really truthfully wasn't like the end of the world, besides asking our guards to put a wristband on that's not your watch. So it was relatively simple.
And do you make everyone wear the Wave? Like, is it you wear the Wave or you don't swim?
So our swim lessons are just that. You wear them or you don't get in. There's no option. For all of our recreational, it's the same concept. For our lap swimmers, it is optional, although the majority of them do wear it because they do think it is super unique. And truthfully, a lot of the drownings that you see, especially in the Connecticut area, are not from the swim lessons, the aquarobics. It's from the lap swimmers who are not swimming correctly, that have a heart attack, that just go underwater.
Have you had the opportunity to speak with parents at all and what they think about this extra layer of protection?
All been really positive and really great.
Tell me a little bit about like teenagers wearing them.
Once they see that the coaches are buying into it, they're okay with wearing it. The first couple of times they hold it underwater to see if we're lying. And then once the noises go off and the lifeguard yells at them for, you know, not being safe and putting it underwater on purpose, then it stops. So it's legitimately everyone's first introduction of it is the question and the testing, and then it's over. And then there's no issue, especially with our teens. The guards enjoy it because it keeps them on their toes even more. It's almost like when the watch goes off, even if there's not a drowning, it's kind of like who can get there quickest and who knows what's going on most. So they're essentially in a competition with one another currently of who can react the quickest. And truthfully, as a supervisor, that helps me more than they even could possibly know.
It's interesting because, you know, I think initially people go, oh, well, won't that just make a lifeguard complacent, the Wave system? But you found the exact opposite.
No, it's like another layer of protection that I don't have to worry anymore. So I can teach calmer and more focused because I know that if anything's going on, we'll all be alerted to it.
Excellent. And how has or have you seen the device ever gone off for a struggling swimmer? Has that happened?
Yeah, so we had one of our after school participants who decided to take their life jacket off and go into the kind of shallow end and thought that they could touch, but they can't, and so forth. But they kind of got themselves in a predicament on our lane line that they were holding on and rolled on their back and got stuck. And it was a struggling swimmer by definition, but their face wasn't underwater, but it alerted the guard that they weren't just playing, that they physically were incapable of getting up. So it alerted, we figured out who it was almost instantaneously and went over and assisted. Super helpful. I mean, and I'm grateful that it exists.
What about physically storing the trackers so that they're accessible, but out of the way from foot traffic? How does that work for you?
So we put it right at our doorway on our wet hallway. So swimmers can come in, pull one of the trackers off and go swimming. And if we need to move it, if there's a swim meet, we have a mini meet, something's going on, it's on wheels. So we kind of drag and play wherever we need it.
Great to hear. And what about the budgeting process to get a system like this? How did that go for you? How does that typically go?
Sure. I mean, everything in aquatics is expensive. Let's start there. So I think that if you're willing to put the effort for it and the money towards it, I think it's going to help you 10 times over. Because realistically, a lawsuit is much more expensive than a system, right? So we put it in our budget and we've kind of just accepted that that's what it is and we move on. But comparatively to other systems that you need to change how your pool functions and drill into the side of your pool and do all this extra manual labor for it, it's much cheaper than really anything that's out there.
Great. Do you think WAVE really has an opportunity to revolutionize safety at facilities across the country and really at home as well?
I mean, if they keep moving forward, right, they're doing the backyard system, they're doing the open water system, they have the pool system, and it functions correctly, and it functions without any pain to the user. I think it's a niche in the world that none of us thought we needed that is here already. Because the other systems don't function the same and have many flaws. The underwater systems that need to scan everything, those just don't work efficiently. And I've looked into all of them once we start having this conversation. It's just not efficient for all the things that actually go into a robust aquatics department. This is simple to deploy and simple to move around. It's kind of like one-stop shopping for all your aquatic drowning needs in one tiny system.